In this episode, we sat down with Justin Garrity from Sprinklr to discuss the impact user-generated social media content plays in retail stores today.
Sprinklr is all about, helping brands, enterprise brands, really connect with their customers. So, from every channel, and it's grounded in social media. So both social media and messaging, and it's kind of like born in the modern era of marketing communication. So that's the Sprinklr pitch, like the overall. And then my focus is on like the visualization products, how to visualize content and create customer experiences.
What are the things that resonate with the customer, your client, and where do you see them going? Like when they hear that, they start to go, their brain starts clicking and they go down a certain rabbit hole. What's the first place they go that you say, yeah, no, that's not going to resonate?
Well, especially with the screen technology display, that everybody wants to create an interactive screen, touch screen. And that's the go-to question all the time. Like they start to understand what your software does, and they're like, "Oh, can you make that a touch screen?" And then a lot of it is just me asking questions. Like, interesting, you would ask that. I said, "When's the last time you went into a store and used a touch screen?" I'm like, never. It's like, well, have you ever seen one? Like, yeah, there's one store here, one there. Like, why didn't you? Like, I knew what I wanted. Stuff like that. It's like there's this instinct to want to make everything a touch screen, and yet nobody themselves see themselves as that type of shopper. And it's like, yeah, because no one wants to use those things. Like everyone gets very excited about touch screens, and it's like ATMs are touch screens, and no one's talking about them. So to me, that's the go-to place that everybody wants to go to. The other problem with touchscreen is like big screens are collaborative. Like if you have a big screen like this in a store, that means everybody in that area can see it. So it's not any one person's screen, which is different than your mobile phone or your tablet or laptop.
Yeah.
And so when you have a shared screen, somebody standing in front of it and blocking everybody's view using it is not a great experience. And for that person that's using it, that also means that everything they're deciding to do is on display to everybody else. And so there's like an awkwardness and an embarrassment about that I think maybe in like dressing rooms where it's more private and stuff like that, I think some of that technology works. When they have like technology where you can like try on an outfit, I'll take a picture for you, it's a touch screen, that kind of stuff. I think that stuff works.
Right.
I love Justin's deflection there of, ATMs are touch screens and nobody's talking about them. And I think he makes a really valid point that, in today's world, people have their laptops, they have their cell phones, they can do shopping literally anywhere. So if they're taking the time to come into the store, the last thing they want to do is interact with a screen. So I think he's really spot on with that.
Yeah, and interactive screens, and you look at the concept around an ATM. The ATM is a utility. I'm using that screen, I'm touching that screen because I need to do something. And when your interactivity is just consuming content, you're taking away the real meaning of what that content's supposed to be doing for you. It's really supposed to be creating this unity between your brand and people like us, people who we respect and we feel have a social relevance to.
Yeah, it's supposed to be enhancing an otherwise tactile experience.
Mm-hmm. So how do you figure out what content then resonates with the crowd that's in the store?
Every brand is different. Let's say it's an outdoor equipment kind of company, like tents, backpacks, that kind of stuff. It's almost for certain that their fans of that brand have gone out and taken incredible photos of like camping out in the most beautiful areas of the country. And so, you would look to see what kind of photography and videos that their fans have taken, and that's a great area of content that they can bring into the store, bring to the screen, that all of a sudden will emotionally connect with other shoppers and other fans. Because the big thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to create confidence in the shopper.
Yeah, de-risk them in a way.
Yeah, like that. You can make a decision. You have this money. You want to buy this thing. You're kind of talking yourself out of it and talking yourself into it at the same time. And you might just leave the store thinking like, oh, I'll think more about it. But if you feel like there are other people that have experienced this product that you're interested in, and you see what they've done with it, like they've gone out camping, these beautiful things, there's an emotional connection that you're just like, oh man, I want to do that thing too, right? So that's where this content is so important. Is it's not a marketing shoot, it's from other real people, and you can see it, and you can imagine yourself doing the same thing, and so that's why it's really powerful. But like there's also companies that we've worked with where it's like a fast food company, and they take the most amazing photos of their own food. There's no photo that a consumer is ever going to take of their food that's going to be better than the photos they take themselves.
Yep.
So you don't want to go photography. You want to go quotes. And maybe the quotes are trying to diffuse the embarrassment of being inside of one of their stores ordering their food. So, you see people that are kind of both enjoying and kind of laughing a little bit about how much they love this food, or like that you're like, oh, there's other people like me. It's like diffusing the embarrassment,
Right.
And just feeling okay with enjoying it and knowing that there's other people that also enjoy it, right? So it's a great format for like quotes.
So as a visual expert, when you think about these displays, what are the building blocks to great design on screens? Do you have a methodology that you follow that say, hey, like it needs to have these components in order for it to be compelling in a store?
People were wanting to put social media up on screens, whether this is for events or stores or whatever it is. They wanted to put social media up on screen. And the instinct was to show lots of it going on, like volume, which makes the people that run the social media teams feel really good about it, because it means that a lot of people are talking about us or talking about the products. But that doesn't resonate emotionally with the consumer. Consumer doesn't care how many people are out there talking about something. They need to connect with another consumer. And so what we were looking at is, I just started studying traditional advertising, like whether it's like billboards or in-store signage, and there's components that kind of make it all up, or are common to all of the things that really work, which is a large piece of creative, like an illustration or photo, some kind of tagline, and then a lot of times if it's an outdoor and it's not in the store, it's a logo that is what this is about. So you can imagine like a Coca-Cola billboard, which is just a young baseball minor league player drink, or not minor league, but like a t-ball league or something like that, drinking a Coke, right? And then it just says something like enjoy happiness as the tagline, and then like a Coca-Cola logo, and that's all you need. Like that makes the billboard. And when you think about like a social media post, you've got a photo that a lot of times they've attached, and then they've got what they wrote as the comment, and then they've got who they are, and then it's about a certain company. And so the same components exist in the social media post that exist in classic advertising. So the idea was, well, if we deconstruct the social media post into these different components, the tagline, the image, the logo of what company's about, and then the who said it,
right,
and reconstruct it in the same format as a traditional ad, then it's going to work in the same way emotionally. So that was the formula that we came up with.
Oh, wow.
He's keying in. I mean, when you look at his comment around what makes the most impact from an advertising standpoint, traditionally, that really is it. You have to, people have 6 seconds that they're going to look at something. If you can't get the message, comprehend, and feel something about that message within 6 seconds, it's lost. And too often you see those like mosaics of social posts. I mean, they may look pretty, but they're not creating that connection with the consumer. That's really what you're trying to do. Like if you're not making that connection, then it's just digital wallpaper.
No, yeah, I think that's why Justin's really on the pulse of what's going on there, because I feel that's happening a lot now. We see it everywhere, not even just in retail. Everybody's going digital, and a lot of people are doing it just for the sake of going digital.
Mm-hmm. There's not a purpose behind it. It's just
noise.
Yeah. What you're really trying to do is inspire an action.
Right.
And that's what it is. That's the secret sauce. If you can inspire action from that communication, then you got something there.
I noticed on these boards,
these are just doing some tests, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As much as they are static, there's a lot of motion to it. Do you find that motion is a big driver?
We've had it where we've had just like quotes from Twitter up on a screen, and the motion is very minimal. And so it almost looks like you can't tell if it's a digital screen or if it's just backlit acetate, and then it switches and you're like, oh, you realize it's digital.
Right.
So that can work in certain contexts. Sometimes motion works if you have a few things you want to resonate with the consumer, you want to keep them looking at the screen, so you want to add some motion so that they keep looking back.
Right.
But it just depends on the context and where it's at. The screen has to be part of a good photo, is kind of the way that it works. Like if you can take a picture with the screen in the background in a store or at an event or something like that, and it makes a good photo, then you know that you got the screen right. If it only works if you're in person. You have to explain to somebody, oh no, it's way better when you're in person. Like it kind of like it looks better, like when it's animated and stuff like that. Then you probably haven't gotten the creative right.
That's an awesome way to put it. And how many pictures do you see of a digital sign where it looks like it's out of place, it's an eyesore, it's, you know, and you know, it's not fitting into that environment. And in retail in particular, so much time and effort gets put into your standard printed materials, standard printed signs, things that are hanging in your cash wrap in common areas. And you know, if you took a picture of the store with that content, it looks pretty good.
Right.
The digital component has to be the same way.
Well, yeah, because I mean, more often than not, people are going digital to replace the print component. So you want to put the time and effort to make sure that that fixture looks good.
Yeah, and enhance the impact of the messaging. So if it's detracting from the look and the feel of what you're merchandising, then you're really in for a world of hurt.
Now, where do you see this going in the future? I mean, what excites you the most about, I mean, obviously the photo qualities are getting better. There's more people actually posting. I mean, what gets you really excited about this space?
We came up with 2 other solutions, which I think are really great. And they work with our product today. So one is to do a mixed creative plus UGC. So if you have, let's say, photos of your product, let's go back to this one about, let's go to one with fast food. You've got beautiful photos of your cheeseburgers and fries and all that kind of stuff. And you know that no UGC is probably ever going to look as good as your studio photography.
Yeah.
Well, you can keep that creative and then overlay, let's say, tweets on top of that are live, so that they almost work like pull quotes from different consumers. So you've got this mixed media, which is UGC plus the store creative, right? So what's nice about that is you can retain your creative that you had that you want to run in store, but you can also put in content that's more dynamic. So whether it changes every day or changes once a week, you know, you got these different quotes that are rotating out. So like it makes it really interesting to look at. And then the other thing that we've figured out and we're really excited about is we can use social listening to schedule creative. So let's say you have 5 different products that or let's say you have a new product you're launching and there's like 5 different colors, you know, and you're not sure what to put in the store in terms of which color. You think you know the one that's going to resonate the most, but you're not quite sure. So either you rotate between all of them or you just choose the one color you think is the most popular. Or that's the product you have as your hero shots throughout the store. Well, how long does it take before sales start to come in, before somebody says, let's switch out the creative that we're having scheduled in the store?
Actually, a long time.
Most stores, it's scheduled for like 2 months in advance and it just stays there. No matter what happens, it's rare that there's enough feedback for somebody to switch that out. So just like marketing teams have gotten used to doing variants for, let's say, emails and ads and stuff like that, we are also encouraging our brands to do variants for in-store creative. So do creative for each of the 5 colors of this product, and then use our listening product or platform to listen to the social media conversation around the product in real time, and even apply a positive sentiment analysis to it. So whatever of the colors is getting the most positive sentiment at a given time, make that creative go on screen.
I know we were really excited about having this conversation with Justin just because, you know, we've been working with Sprinklr for years with a few of our customers, and just seeing how they're able to take their technology as a platform and, you know, handle like the social listening and give brands greater insight to improving the retail experience, both online and in store, has always been a really interesting story. So I was thrilled that Justin was available to sit down with us when we were in Portland and have that conversation.
No, yeah, I mean, he's definitely an expert in his field, and I think there's a lot to learn from what he's talking about here.
Yeah, and you know, he hits on great points for anyone who's looking at in-store retail, digital. You know, whether it's when to use interactivity, how to use the user-generated content, why user-generated makes more sense versus influencer content, and when influencer content makes more sense. You know, all of that's packaged up in this conversation, which was really, I hope, is a great tool for anyone who's watching.
No, it's almost like a guidebook. I mean, it makes so much sense with how much digital is coming up in retail, and I think that's something a lot of consumers are looking for is that kind of experience, so that they're not just seeing a guy kicking a soccer ball. It's actually a meaningful experience when they walk into the retail location.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks for sitting down with me, Matt, and checking out the clips.
Absolutely.
Good time, best USA.